Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Film Seizure. My name is Jeff Arbuckle, and here we are talking about 1983's The Big Chill. With me, as always, Jason Oliver. Jason, how's it going? I bet you're real excited today, aren't you?
So excited. Why am I excited?
Because we're talking. We're here. We're here together.
Because I'm here with you two, my good friends, who I haven't seen in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Hide your wives, because if we invite Jeff Goldblum over and one of you dies, it's going to be bad news.
He will fail with all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk to Chuck Moore. Chuck, how's it going, Chuck?
Good, man. Good. I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk about this. We preemptively said or discovered last week that Jason doesn't really care for this movie. I don't know what you think about this movie just yet, Jeff, other than it's complicated. Sometimes I think these kind of movies make the best discussions, right?
We'll see about that. Jason might say nope. And he just leaves.
There's plenty to discuss here.
Sure, absolutely.
It absolutely does raise a lot of questions and ideas and things about why I would never watch this movie again.
That's interesting. I feel like there's different ways to read some of the stuff in this movie too, or you can force yourself into a perspective on some of the characters that get things or do things that you may not like, but I don't know your reasons yet. So,
well, we'll talk about that. But
yeah, we will,
Jason and I were talking last night as we were watching this movie, I believe. And I think the big question that we probably need to just go ahead and ask.
I have to know.
Yeah. Well, do you want to ask it, Jason? Ask it.
Yeah. How is this a movie you watched and liked as a kid? How is that in any realm of possibility? I'm so confused by that.
I think a lot of it is the music.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think Kevin Kline and Jeff Goldblum are enjoyable as characters, even if you don't know what the fuck is going on.
Okay.
Half the time. Even my wife watched it as a kid and liked it.
That's so weird.
I think I must have I don't remember like the exact circumstance, but I probably saw it with my parents at some point. And just liked the performances because it is very active, right? It's a very active movie. Things are always happening for the most part.
It is a very well edited movie. Like Susan made a comment that was like, none of these scenes end. I was like, do you want them to? It's brisk. It's brisk. It gets from one thing to another very quickly.
It is only an hour and 45 minutes, and there's a lot of characters that we need to get to know in this. One thing I will say that this movie does very, very well, the opening credit sequence really does a great job introducing everyone, including Tom Berenger's stash and Meg Tilly's leotard.
Yes.
They're all
two of my favorite things in this movie. Yeah.
Oh God, I've got a lot to say about JT Lancer.
Oh, I want to hear all of it because that's probably the best part of the movie for me.
It's pretty good.
It's great. But no, I mean, you get the impression it's like, okay, here we're seeing all of these people in their lives and what have you. I guess from there, of course, you know, it all opens on the funeral for Alex, right? Alex would have been Kevin Costner, who would have been like in high school when they were in college, which is, we talked about last week about like generational like ages and stuff. He's considerably younger than the rest of the cast in this. But I guess what should we talk about? Meg Tilly's leotard or Tom Berenger's stash? How are we going to spend the next hour or so?
Well, we know that the movie was sold on Meg Tilly's leotard. So
yes, I found all of the theater lobby cards that feature specifically her in a leotard.
Oh my gosh. Which Susan,
No.
Susan, I love her. I love her so much. She said she looks weird in this. I was like, who? Meg Tilly? And she was like, yeah. It's like, well, you know that's Meg Tilly, not Jennifer Tilly. She was like, well, who's Meg Tilly? It's like, her? She's like, oh, it's her sister. It was good.
Yeah. So I guess let's I guess we should introduce the characters because that's kind of key here, right? We have so of the friends who were college friends of Alex's, we have Tom Berenger, who was Sam Weber, who is a actor. In fact,
JT Lancer.
He's Magnum PI.
Yes.
Like mixed in with so much 80s television. It's wonderful.
Oh my God, this is great. Then the first people that we meet are Harold and Sarah Cooper, that's Kevin Kline and Glenn Close. Now, they are ostensibly the two leads in this movie because most everything flows through them to get things started. And then, they were geographically and emotionally closest to Alex.
Yeah.
Everybody else kind of spread to the wind. We have Jeff Goldblum, who's Michael. He is a writer for People magazine, but he's unhappy with that job. And basically, he always writes something about his friends to piss them off. We have William Hurt, who's Nick. He is the only one who went to Vietnam of the group. And he came back, I guess his dick was exploded.
So that's what I think. They keep referring to him as impotent, in the descriptions that I've read.
But he wants to show Mary Kay Place what happened to him.
And then the whole bit with her screaming, and it's a bad. I think you're led to believe in a really comedically stupid way that he's mangled.
Oh my God, I love the bat scene.
It's bat is fine.
You're right.
The lead up to that is so ridiculous.
They definitely trick you or try to trick you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean,
I agree. I think his dick's exploded. Yeah.
Okay. Your dick exploded.
I'm on the same page as you. I don't know about Chuck, but
I don't know about Chuck, but we'll just say his dick is.
I think he's coded as autistic.
Okay, there it is. I think he's coded as
that's
dick
a perfect
exploded.
Answer. If you listen to last week, that's a perfect answer. Yeah.
We have Mary Kay Place. She plays Meg, and Meg Tilly plays Chloe. Get them straight. Because they're two different people.
I will not.
Yeah, I know, because you're going to keep saying Meg, and it's like, no, that's Mary Kay Place. Mary Kay Place is the only one aside from Michael who is well, no, that's not true because Nick isn't either. Mary Kay Place is like terminally single, like Michael, but they're not ever going to get back together again. Like she's so single, she wants to have just a kid.
Yeah.
And then we have Jo Beth Williams, who's Karen, who seemingly was kind of the hot one. Is that fair to say? It seems like everybody liked her.
I mean,
from
that group. Yeah. From that group, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you look at them, that's pretty clear. Yeah.
I mean, Meg Tilly might be the hot one now.
Well, I don't know. Tom Berenger's mustache is pretty sexy.
He's got a fucking caterpillar right in his lip.
But yeah, you put Glenn Close, Mary Kay Place, and Jo Beth Williams in a room. There's one clear hot one. Let's be honest.
Oh my God.
Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline. Yeah.
JT Lancer.
he jumps in the car and fucks it up.
I'm giving thumbs up over here for the audience.
God, that's great. And then there's Chloe, who's Meg Tilly. Chloe is like this young, early 20s girl who was with Alex. She was the one, when she awkwardly explains that she was the one who found Alex when he had slit his wrist in the, I assume in the tub.
Yeah.
He was in the bathroom. So that is our characters. Now, each one has a thing going on.
It happened at the cabin, though, right? Not
one of their houses. I don't know if it was the cabin, the one house, or the other house.
It's the old house on the property of the Webbers or of the Coopers.
But what the house that they go look at, where they were like, Alex loved it here.
It's the house. No, it's not the cabin. It's the
cabin?
house.
Not the cabin. It's the house that's on the property of the Coopers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because there is a lot said about Alex without us knowing Alex. Like, he was kind of, everybody thought his life was fucked, but he was probably the most free spirit of them all.
I mean,
Right, because they're all revolutionaries, right?
Yeah.
In a way. Go ahead, Jason.
Only one in the group, and it was Alex. Listened to the voices in his head, and then went and built a baseball diamond in the middle of the cornfield.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
I mean,
I thought
He's the only one. He's the only one that crazy enough to do that.
I thought he was dancing with wolves.
If you slip them, you are done.
Sorry, I felt that was a funny way to introduce the fact that Alex was played by Kevin Costner, but not in the movie.
Only his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a deleted
his
scene,
wrist with there is a deleted scene, but you see his wrist with the slash marks. So then but no, he lived.
But yes, he was revolutionary. He's the only one that didn't sell out.
Yes.
Yeah, and he drifted, but like everybody, it's like, I don't understand. Why would he do this? And then he would just become a carpenter. It's like, because it seems like he did what made him feel happy at the moment, but I think nobody knows why he killed himself, but I think it's that weight of unrealized potential is what I kind of look at it as.
I don't like that it's the one person who didn't sell out is one they decide to kill and then get existential about that.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Well, William Hurt doesn't sell out either.
He doesn't. He is the best character.
Yeah, he is far and away my favorite character in this movie. He's the most realized.
I think he's supposed to be.
I know.
Well, I've got a lot to say about him when we get into the movie itself. But yeah, so the Coopers. So Glenn Close is a doctor of some sort. I don't know if they actually say what she's a doctor of.
No, I don't think they do.
Kevin Kline runs an athletic store.
Yeah, like athletic shoe store.
Like just athletic gear, I think.
I don't know that his logo was like a running shoe thing, but yeah, whatever. Athletic stuff.
Yeah, probably like a Foot Locker. Yeah. You probably get your Michigan jerseys there in South Carolina, where they are located. That's weird, by the way.
Made by Fanatics. Your shirts,
right. So they're going to be all shitty. That is one thing that threw me off guard, like right away, is that they all went to Michigan University, but Glenn Close, Kevin Kline, and Alex lived in South Carolina, and Kevin Kline has a pretty bad Southern accent.
Yeah,
he sounds like he's doing the Colonel in one of those commercials.
I don't know if that's confusing so much as if you were born in the South and you were a revolutionary, you wouldn't stay in the South. The fact that they end up back there is what's bad.
On a plantation.
Yes, on a plantation.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
All I know is that when I saw Michigan stuff and then I heard the Michigan fight song, I was like, this movie's just piling on.
I mean, it was the 80s, man.
Yeah,
Michigan wasn't even good then.
I know.
In the early 80s. I mean. Yeah.
I'm just not totally loving the movie, and now I'm here listening to the Michigan fight song.
But I think they probably should have gone to California or something, but I think the idea of going north is like representing them being progressive when they were younger.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, probably. I don't know. It's just it's
and Lawrence Kasdan went to Michigan, probably.
Yeah, you know who also went to Michigan, and I would have probably rather have made this movie? Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
like they would have been like
opened up the Book of the Dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of playing flag football.
That's a movie I can get behind. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Anyway, so so let's see here. Jo Beth Williams is unhappily married. Not much more known about her. She just wants a mustache ride.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Meg Jones is a lawyer. She's a property lawyer, a real estate lawyer, because she was a public defendant. Right?
Oh wait, we also know about Joe Beth, right, Karen? You were talking about Karen before?
Yeah, what do we know about Karen?
She's married to an older man.
Oh yeah, and he's like super like judgmental and shitty.
Yeah. He's a bit like, see, I always knew it would turn out this way.
He's very cynical.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Isn't it funny how 40 years ago that's how conservatives were presented in movies, and then 40 years from now they're going to be like howling monsters?
Yeah.
It's going to be hilarious.
I mean, so Richard Bowen's is their future.
Yes.
Right? They're cynical. They're going to be cynical old men in their late 50s, early 60s.
Yep.
Who rue everything that they've done through adulthood,
and
which is what they're examining.
It's exactly
anyways.
what happened.
Right.
It's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So that character's piling on men.
Instead of like learning from, like I've read that this movie was super poignant for people of this age at this time. Read white, middle class white people of this age, and they did nothing with it, absolutely nothing with it. Like they continued on the same path, the safe path of ruination.
Yes, I don't think that's celebrated though. I don't think it's celebrated in this movie.
It's forgiven a little bit. It's forgiven a little bit. It makes you feel okay about it.
They might as well ended with everybody laughing in a freeze frame.
Yeah.
I disagree with that.
Yeah. It's like, well, it'll all be okay as long as we have each other while we ruin this country.
I didn't read it that way at all.
I totally did.
I felt not sorry for them, but like they don't even realize what's happening to them right now. It is like, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, because I do want to talk about that end, and I did not like it.
Yeah.
Necessarily, but I don't want to talk about it yet.
Okay.
I agree with that. That's fine.
No, I agree. I'm getting ahead of things anyway. So
yeah.
Yes.
No, that's fine.
I'll rein it in.
So yeah, I think I've pretty much gone through the character. I was saying that Mary Kay Place was a public defender turned real estate lawyer. And she specifically says she's okay with that, because instead of now defending criminals, she only defends people who rape the land.
Yeah, she basically said the people that she used to defend were almost always guilty.
Oh my God.
Which again is a moment where I'm like, this person is
not a good person.
Not a good person.
And I don't think they're supposed to be.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think you write a movie like this without like writing yourself into it. I just
maybe it feels a little cynical to me. Maybe that's just because what I want it.
No, but they're laughing at it. It's like, this is who we're becoming. Ha ha ha. You know,
right? And they kind of like, because they're, how do I say this? The death of Alex, right, is the death of their youth, the death of
their ideology.
Right? And they're at a crossroads. And what you expect to happen in this movie does not fucking happen. And it's kind of
one character it does actually happen for.
Right.
The best character of the movie. He gets he actually has a chance. You know.
Right. But I think he's the best character in the movie because he's who you're supposed to root for, right? You mentioned that he was neutered. Right. Well, we can use that word. His dick was blown off. He was neutered. Whatever. Yeah. But in reality, he's the only one of them that is not neutered.
But he's now given a new chance at the manifest destiny. Like, he's not given a new chance at being a revolutionary. That you don't know, right? You don't know what direction he will take there.
No, but I do get the impression that his negativity that has driven him to the point where he's self-destructive Because he's the one he's clearly the most self-destructive of the bunch, whereas everybody else is destructive to other things.
Well, he's clearly the new Alex that they all will like put on the pedestal of the person they wish they could have been, right? But is he going to be the one that makes it? I mean, they already killed off one Alex.
Well, he's not going to. He's not going to be making anything because he's got his dick blown off.
I know, but is he going to heal? Is being in the same exact environment as Alex really the best thing for him?
Right. That's why I think this movie is so fucking cynical, and I can't believe you guys think it's apologizing for stuff.
I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know
because they put the best character in the worst possible situation, kind of. Right, the same environment.
I have a different read on it than what you're saying there.
If it's a takedown, it is like the most veiled takedown ever.
Yeah, I don't get the impression that this is.
I wish it were like, oh my god, if I'm like totally missing the point on that, then that would be great. But I don't think I am.
Interesting.
No, so. Let's kind of.
We're still jumping to the end. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, we need to.
Sorry. Sorry.
This is like, can we just end this episode?
I'm going to shut the fuck up. I think this is good stuff, but I'm going to shut up for a minute.
So
I'm going to listen. And
okay, can I start then?
Yeah, be an active listener here.
I'm going to just talk in a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so so they go to the funeral, and Harold, who is Kevin Kline, is almost like he's putting on the funeral, right? Like he is kind of taking the lead of everything here, and he is devastated by what's happened. Now everybody else is sad, but he seems to be in real bad shape. We find out later that his wife is actually in worse shape over it. Which is it.
Him
she had an affair with him.
Yes, but we don't know that until like a little bit later. But anyway,
him directing traffic in an almost empty church parking lot was killing me.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
God, this movie sucks.
Yeah. I will say that
this is like, okay, we got a control freak. Got it.
I will say though that that you can't always get what you want sounds really good on a church organ.
And then fading into the song.
Yes.
It's so good.
I actually made a comment about that. I said any song is appropriate in church as long as it is played on a pipe organ. And then I made a joke to Susan, like, imagine if someone was like playing Nine Inch Nails Closer on a pipe organ or something like that. It's like immediately holy. It's like it's been drenched in holy water.
Yeah.
If you pipe it through a pipe organ.
Yet another hint to me, or at least leading me to believe what ultimately I'll say later, is that the Reverend is totally fucking roasting Alex in this.
Yeah,
scene.
he is. He definitely is, because he is, again, Alex being kind of like the liberal college boy, probably northerner, who is now living down here. He's a drifter. He's kind of directionless. What kind of person lives like that? That's a very old conservative mindset. It also happens to be exactly what every single one of these characters are going to say 20 years from then, when their kids are not really sure what to do in life. They're going to say, well, you're not living life the way you should be living it. Do as I say, not as I do, because this generation turned into people that we have problems with today.
It's happened to a lot of people you know well, whose parents were cool when they were young.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
Yep. And I'm only more recently discovering the depths of the wild, more lefty opinions that some of my family has.
That's funny. That's funny.
My parents
it's the opposite.
Cool. My parents have never been cool, so So
Read-
at least
read go-
you got the good bits, Chuck.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are still cool, but they're definitely ideology is different than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like, go read Ghost at a Watchman, you'll understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
As
Not
I've
you,
always
not you. I meant
Yeah.
people. Yeah,
Yeah. This our listeners. Yeah, it's
as I've always
big time.
kind of
Yep.
started to believe over the last 10 years or so, those people who were hippies in the 60s are most likely to be, for a lack of a better term, Trump supporters today.
Yeah.
I don't think I am alone in the concept that the reason why I've never really been a huge fan of the reverence that the hippie generation got, or the hippies got in general, is that I find them to be incredibly selfish people. What they were looking for and what they were fighting for was what they personally wanted, not really what was best for a lot of other people. And that's only carried on worse and worse and worse as each decade passed.
man, Jeff. Every week you alienate one of our listeners. There's
He
got to
hates
be
it.
like
Jeff
so
just
now
hates him. I'm going to say it. He's always talking to me about how much he hates hippies and how dirty they are. Always.
dirty fucking hippies.
There's not a day that goes by.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
True.
He's like
That's true.
really, really hates hippies. Yeah.
Jeff doesn't have a no soliciting sign on his door. He has a no dirty hippie sign.
That's right. But in Jeff's defense, like there's a very specific type of hippie that he hates, and it is the poser hippie, right?
It's
Like,
it's the
there
people
are-
who wants to fuck up society because they don't really believe in anything.
Right. But
But the smaller percentage of the true hippies,
yes,
were
are
the
still doing
actual-
really good work today.
exactly.
Even,
But yeah, I'm talking about the people who just didn't really, they glommed onto the concept of
drugs
freedom.
and sex and freedom. Yeah.
Exactly. And but what they wanted, that was for me, not for thee.
Yeah. Yeah.
But these are like the same kind of people who believe in God just because.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
they don't.
Yes.
They want to be absolved in case there is a God. Not
Yeah.
that-
It's a safety net.
yes.
Spoiler alert,
Or
everybody.
like I
There
was
is
a
no
hippie
safety
when
net.
I
There
was
is
a
nothing
kid.
there.
No,
You were what,
we're
Jason?
getting really dark.
No
It's nothing
shit.
but
Jeff-
it's nothing
Jeff's
but
getting all like
darkness when it's
Nietzsche
over.
on us. He's like, God is
Your
dead.
worm food.
You go back
Come
in
on.
the void.
Come on,
I
newsboys. Come and talk to me about how God is surely not dead.
I just want to hear Nine Inch Nails Closer on a pipe organ. That's all I want right now.
You have permission to play that at my funeral, because
My God, that would be funny.
if there's many more McRib seasons, you guys are gonna have to be figuring some shit out for me.
Or like, oh man. Oh, yeah.
Wait, I have to play in your funeral? I'm gonna find.
we
it's
might.
good-
We might. I mean, he
There's
goes
many
before
more
us.
McRib
Yeah,
seasons.
maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm just hoping somebody else is around to do it. Like, you know,
I know.
I don't
It
know
does
about
feel.
My
It does
my
feel a little
cats don't have
defeatist
thumbs.
in your.
They can't do
in
it.
your mid 40s, but yeah, I know. I guess I got one funny thing to say. I actually made a comment in this in our group chat, but I was like, I thought that the minister, when I was reading the cast before I saw the movie, I was like, Jamie Gillis. It's like, he's the minister. And if you know who Jamie Gillis is, he's like a porn star from the 70s and 80s, right?
Oh, so it's
I'm
not
aware.
him?
I
I'm
thought
aware.
that the minister was going to be him, which would make sense because he did do a couple like mainstream like
Well, that's
small
what
parts.
Tom Berenger's character is going to end up being.
Totally, but it wasn't him. It's like a totally different person. But I was so disappointed. That's
Disappointed.
Minister. That minister is not Jamie Gillis, because that would have been funny.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
if he was delivering the same sermon. Oh my God, it would have been brilliant. Yeah.
Well, let me go back to where we were before we all branched off into our revolutionary talk here.
All of us. Yeah.
God damn.
All of us did it.
And I mean, I think Jason almost died. I think we almost had to plan his funeral.
Yeah, all of us almost had to play this funeral.
Okay. I don't know what happened there, but there it is. So yes, you can't always get what you want on Oregon transitioning into the real. That's maybe one of the best moments of the year of 1983. Period.
That was good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
This movie starts very strong.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that, like, you know, Nick is the last one to show. He's kind of the fuck up, right? Like, he's the one he's got all of his pills on the seat next to him, and he's going to town on him. I also like that he and Mary Kay Place drive together to the grave site, and she gets just fucking obliterated by his dope. Like, that's how strong his stuff has to be for him to function. And she is like walking off into like a shitty field, like into the marsh, like in the wrong direction from the funeral. But you also kind of get the impression of like who Chloe is, you know, like this very kind of naive, kind of not really sad, right? Like she's kind of more numb than anything else.
She looks like an alien that was like dropped into the spot.
Yeah, it's like it would be like me going to, I don't know, like it would be like, hey, Jeff, come over to our holiday party. We're not going to have anybody else you know there. You're just going to sit there and be your weird fucking self and not talk to anyone until all of a sudden somebody makes a really inappropriate joke and you laugh your ass off. And then you realize,
she's pretty refreshing, man.
She really kind of, because she's the only one who's not morose and like,
she's
lost.
Representing what they used to have in a way, though. I think they're more, they seem like they would have been more intelligent. Not that I'm calling Chloe stupid.
She's more flighty.
Yeah, she doesn't have the same drive they would. I feel like they would have had. But the drive is what gets them where they go later. So it's interesting. Right. It's all interesting to me.
Yeah. But
it all depends on what your definition of success, happiness is debatable for all of them.
Well, she says something really, really pointed and really, really well written line at one point where she, to their faces, says, "I have not met many happy people in my life."
Yes, that's what
right to their fucking face.
That's my favorite line of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like she says it like she might as well say, "You guys aren't any better off than anybody else."
I wrote it down. It's the last note I made. I said, "I haven't met that many happy people in my life. What do they act like?"
Yeah, and like these are people that she has met now. You know,
and it's a little bit naive, and it's also a little bit of a dig, right?
I'm telling you, it's an indictment on them. I really don't think this movie is supposed to be read the way that you guys do, but I could be wrong.
Well, I haven't said that I read it that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's this guy. It's this guy up here in my top left.
I think all right. If it's not supposed to be an indictment, or no, if it's supposed to be an indictment, it failed. It failed.
Not for me.
Maybe not for me. But I don't think that the people it was supposed to affected them the right way.
Okay,
I think that they felt a little let off the hook by this movie. I don't think that
I kind of agree with that.
I don't think that it made them feel as uncomfortable as it should have.
You know what's funny about that, though? Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say, let me tell you kind of how I read this. Okay, I think where I read this is someplace in between where you guys are. It may have very well, because I think the movie does show that these people have no better life than anybody else that they think they're better than, right? But at the same time, I also think that people watching this movie, that went over their head, because what this ended up becoming was a sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of fantasy of theirs, right? Like, oh, I'll go hang out with all my college friends and go hang out with all my, old friends, and we'll wife swap, and everything's going to be great, and we're all going to have a good time, and then we're all going to laugh at the end when we joke about where we never want to leave each other ever again. And I think that that's how the common audience member saw it
Yeah.
as it's the same thing as saying, well, you know what's really funny movie 23 years ago or 24 years ago, American Pie. But do I also recognize that that is a male fantasy movie? Yes, I realize that.
Let me interject here because I want to be very more cynical than I normally am.
Okay.
If you were aiming to change anyone with a movie about themselves by shitting on them directly, you will fucking fail harder. If it doesn't feel successful to you guys as it would have touched them and made them rethink their lives or rethink their choice, there's no fucking way. There's no way these people are going to be changed by the truth. We know that. Right? Like, when has anyone ever changed by the truth that isn't like I don't know. I just don't see it. I just don't see that you can you can body blow somebody who is rich, affluent in their 40s into being like, you know what? You're right.
I mean,
Maybe.
yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying about that.
But then what are you making then?
Money.
Well, all right. Well, then it's even more reprehensible.
I guess. I mean, I could totally agree with you on that point, like 100%. But the idea is to entertain people with movies, like political statements about, like, would it have resonated with you more? Like, even, okay, we're going to talk about this later.
You're definitely making my point, though, with that line of reasoning. Like, and it's not a bad line of reasoning, and it could very well be the truth, but it's not going to make me like this movie anymore.
That's fair. I even think, like, with the playing of You Can't Always Get What You Want juxtaposed with the ending of this movie.
Oh, I think the music is very specifically, like, almost like, as much as I like the song When a Man Loves a Woman, I hated how that was used in this movie.
I think it's like counter, though. It's supposed to be counter.
No, but I mean, but it's so very obvious. Oh, look, this guy is looking at this person. I guess that should mean I should give her my husband for the night. That,
I think it's way more ironic than you guys think it is. Like, you can't always give it your most.
It's the most unrealistic thing I've seen all week, and you don't know what I've seen this week.
I don't know.
You can't always get what you want at the beginning of the movie, right? It's the second song you hear after Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. You can't always get what you want. What does everyone get in this movie? What they want. They all get what they want. Like, I think it's like a dig. I don't know.
I don't know. I think this is a pretty good summation. After I watched the movie, I was looking at some stuff here, and I came across this blurb from Ebert, and I think this is perfect. And I think this may be the more nuanced explanation of exactly what Jason is saying. Okay.
More nuanced than Jason? No way.
I'm not nuanced. I'm not good.
Not on this. But
I know it's sarcasm. I don't always pick up on it. Yep.
So he gave it 2.5 stars out of 4, and he said The Big Chill is a splendid technical exercise. It has all the right moves. It knows all the right words. Its characters have all the right clothes, expressions, fears, lusts, and ambitions. But there's no payoff, and it doesn't lead anywhere. I thought at first that was a weakness of the movie. There's also the possibility that it's the movie's message. So that kind of combines both of what you guys are saying.
It does.
And it kind of when I was trying to figure out how I feel about that last part about how the weakness of the movie may actually be the point that these are weak plot lines because the characters know no better than what they're showing us, where it's going or what they're going to do or how they're going to improve or be different or be better or whatever. I think that is, I don't know.
So
it's kind of part of the problem of the movie, right?
It is. I wonder if the real discussion isn't in what this movie's about, or why this movie got made, or what the intentions behind the movie was. But the real discussion is, why was this movie so popular? in 1983.
Yeah. And I think that comes back to it's a little bit of a fantasy for the people who are pining for a less complicated time in their life.
I think so too.
I mean, because God knows that we all get in those kind of nostalgic or I don't know, melancholic kind of dazes where we think about stuff for us, it's the 90s, right? Like we think about particularly the late 90s for me is where I get the most sentimental about,
Yeah,
right?
Me too.
However, I like having the memories. I don't want to go back to it. I don't want to feel like that again.
Well, these
That was
people don't
not a
either.
but I think they're kind of playing, they're at least wanting to play the fantasy of that.
So that's what you just explained.
Well, no. I said the fantasy of it. I don't want to fantasize that it's the late 90s again. I like having the memories, not the actual.
Yeah, but when you
reliving
relieve a
of it.
memory, you're kind of fantasizing it a little bit, unless it's a bad memory.
But I'm not trying to pull the people together into a room and playing all the records. Like I'm not pulling everybody that I knew at the time into a room, putting on side 2 or disc 2 of Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, and like talking about like all the important shit we supposedly did back then.
Yeah, but that's
not what I'm talking about.
They just had a friend die.
I know.
Like the reminiscing is natural in those kind of things. Not to defend them as people, but like that part of it makes sense. You would,
but what I'm saying is that's why I think people found this. I think that's why this movie became popular, and the whole genre of that, what I call nostalgiasploitation, kicked off here. Is that people wanted, in a sort of way, to kind of feel absolved by saying, hey, we had some great times when we were smoking pot and now we can just do whatever the fuck we want.
Wouldn't this cast be a large draw regardless?
Not necessarily at this time.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little early for everybody. Because Tom Berenger hasn't been in Platoon yet. Kevin Kline was probably the most recognizable person in the movie. The 2 most recognizable people in the movie would have been Goldblum and Hurt.
Not even Glenn Close at that time?
No.
Yeah, no, she's not hit it. I mean, her height is 5 years later with Fatal Attraction.
For sure. Body Heat. I mean, Kasdan's first film, Body Heat, was a minor hit. And that was hurting Kathleen Turner. It is a weird, like, that's why I feel like this is so autobiographical. That's why I feel like it's not as cryptic. It's not as biting as we want to believe it is, because I do believe this was like a biographical type, like write what you know sort of script.
Yeah, but it depends on who he is. Like if he's Michael, or if he feels like his Alex and all his friends have moved on without him. Like
he probably feels a little bit like Jeff Goldblum, would be my guess, because he had gotten the big gig co-writing Empire and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
He kind of hit it big pretty early, pretty quickly as a relative unknown screenwriter. Had a pretty successful first picture. And then, maybe he's feeling a little bit like People magazine. I don't know.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe he's talked about it. I'm sure he has. It was a massive hit for him.
So I know we have a little bit more to cover here before we get to the end, but do either of you know, and I should have checked because I have the criterion of this, is the Kevin Costner scene that was cut, which I presume is a video he shot on the tape recorder that everyone's using in the house. before he dies. Is that available anywhere? Because I wonder if that has any kind of message as to what you are supposed to be receiving in this movie.
Probably. I don't know. I
don't know, because the thing
here's
is,
what I read. Here's what I read. I read that he has like a moment. I don't know if it's on the tape or what. Probably is on the tape. That would make a lot of sense. Of him, maybe it's a suicide note. Like, Jesus Christ, I might make this a much better movie. And where he is, talking. It's like his moment where he is like giving his regrets,
his reasoning,
like his whole spiel, right? But they cut it because they realized that nobody could live up to his ideal persona that they had set up throughout the course of the film. Well, and my answer to that is just fucking shoot it. Like, shoot something that does live up to that ideal, right? Like, if you feel like what you shot didn't live up to it, shoot something that does. But they cut it, and I don't know what it is. I would like to see it. I think it could be like the missing piece.
Right, and it's neither here nor there because they chose to delete it. We got the movie we got, so you're going to read it the way you read it because that's what the director gave you. But I'm definitely curious on that as well.
It's not on the Criterion.
I didn't check.
It's got to be out there. I bet you it is.
I didn't expect there to be like this much like discussion about intention. You know what I mean? So I didn't even.
No, I know. I don't expect you to have watched it. I'm just saying that I'd be very curious to know what was in the script or what was shot around that. Yes, and how they would place that in the film, because it could be devastating, right?
Right.
It could be instead of like freeze the whole frame, tone of the movie. Like fucking bullshit. You know, in some ways, it is almost like the end of a TV episode, right? Like a TJ Lancer episode.
It is
the way they end the movie. But it could be really devastating, right? And it could have been, who knows? It could have been cut for test audiences, which makes it even sicker, right?
Oh, right. The wrong people got in the theater and said they didn't like it, so they
just people got into the theater and said they didn't like it, right?
Yeah,
like
just people.
Like if Kasdan just said, well, yeah, if it's not going to sell with this ending, then that's horrible. That's like, I would love to know.
It's a cop out, right?
But I don't want to speculate because I do not know.
Right.
He would have said it like this. Well, it's not going to sell because of that. That's how he talks.
That's how he talks.
Very nasally. It's very nasally.
Dude, Lawrence Kasdan has made some great movies.
Well, he has. I mean, we talked about one of them, the little known one called Empire Strikes Back. The one that's hardly ever talked about.
Yeah. I want to do Silverado because I have such fond memories of Silverado as a child.
Well, it's probably going to turn out to be some sort of boomer nightmare.
Probably.
So
yeah, it's not critical. It's not critical enough of anyone for me. Cowboys get off easy in that fucking movie.
They fucking do. That's not an appropriate representation of the old West.
Okay. Well, okay.
I could poke fun at myself, Chuck. I can't.
Yeah, I know.
Oh boy.
All right, Chuck. Please lead us somewhere. Take us somewhere.
Okay, so JT Lancer is basically Magnum PI. Did we talk about that?
Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I love the riffing on it too. That cracked me up on top of what was already cracking me up. It was just great. It was so.
I love that was probably shot by second unit too, and they probably had a blast shooting all that stuff.
Oh God, Tom Berenger was probably just living life.
Oh.
As he should have.
When he's talking to Joe Beth Williams about like, I try to put something of value in every episode.
Oh my God.
And she's like, yeah, I think my kids really get something from it. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. That is definitely a joke, Chuck. Like those characters are being made fun of, both of them, in that scene.
Yes, I know, and I think it's happening all the time in this movie.
It might be.
Yeah,
I do like the scene where Goldblum and Berenger are talking on the camera, and it seems like none of that could have been written. That they're just spouting out stuff, and it's so quick, and it's so like back and forth, and it's like, oh, I could have watched that for 2 hours.
I don't even remember what they were saying.
It was just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, like, it was just a bunch of like it was.
I remember what you're talking about now.
It was an existential conversation, but it was all played in parody.
It also felt a little bit like Goldblum from The Fly. Like it was very
well, because he was doing the thing with his hand.
Yeah.
He's go ahead.
I was just gonna say William Hurt reminded me so much of Jeff Goldblum in this movie for some reason. It was Goldbloomy to me. I don't know why. What did I say? William Hurt reminded me of
Jeff Goldblum.
Not Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Lebowski. Jeff Bridges.
Oh, okay. Yes, that I agree.
Yeah.
But Bridges probably reminds me more of William Hurt from this movie and other roles. I don't know, chicken egg kind of thing.
I don't know. I really, really, really do like the William Hurt character in this. I'm not saying that he's a good guy, because I think he's got issues and he's got things that, I mean, obviously he has self-destructive tendencies that end up hurting people. Or could
I don't think issues make you a good or bad person, though.
No, but you've
also got Kevin Kline, who is like, oh, it's so patronizing. It's like he's like, hey, I'm going to tell you about this big windfall that's about to happen.
Right, and he's going to have no consequences for it.
And exactly. But but neither one of them take him up on it.
But
I don't actually think that William Hurt takes him up on it.
No, I don't think so either. Alex did.
Did he?
Yes,
maybe that's why he kills himself.
That's how he bought he says that's how he bought that piece of land.
That's probably why he killed himself.
Well, that too. But
I thought it was because he talked to the girl and she was mean to him. That line when William Hurt says that's why he killed himself, fucking killed him.
Oh my, yeah.
The conversation with Mary Kay Place. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Or it was Behringer, or was it?
No, it was Mary Kay Place. It was Mary Kay Place.
And
it's like, well, that's probably
it was in the car. It was in the car when she was getting ripped.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what did you say to him? It's like, I told him he was wasting his life.
Oh, that probably is why he killed himself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He but no, what were we saying before that? No,
Jeff
it's
Goldblum.
like,
I don't know.
No, I was talking about William Hurt. No, he's because there is the one scene where, like, also where, you know, he goes off and he supposedly runs a red light. We don't know for sure if he did. He says he didn't. The cop says he did. They bring him back home and Kevin Kline gets mad at him. He's like, he's kept this place safe by, stopping people from ripping this place off. And it's very condescending toward, it's like, oh, you treat him like an asshole. He doesn't know that. He doesn't fucking, but
of course he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. But anyway, I like that character. He is the most realized, Jason, as you said last night, he's the one person with the most legitimate reason why he's pissed off at life. Because, he got his junk blown off.
All right, hold on.
Okay, we're going off to another tangent now.
I think this could be good.
It is going to be good, but did you have anything more to say about William Hurt?
I got a shit ton more to say because that's the favorite part of the movie, but go ahead.
I'm looking at the poster for The Big Chill. Like, what was this movie sold on, right? And there's a lot of taglines on this thing. There's 3 different taglines on this poster.
Oh, that's
the first one.
A bunch of words on this book.
The first one at the top. The first one at the top says, "How much love, sex, fun, and friendship can a person take?"
What did I say earlier?
I don't know how much. And then underneath that, in smaller print, it says the story of 8 old friends searching for something they love and finding that all they needed was each other. And then below The Big Chill, which is supposed to be a metaphor for death, it says, "In a cold world, all you need. You need your friends to keep you warm.
I have zero idea how you guys can look at that and not think it's a joke.
That, to me, is like, we got to sell this to people in the 30s to make them watch it.
It looks like the fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 cover. It's a fucking joke.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 cover is a parody of Breakfast Club.
Yes,
Both
why
of
I
those came
think
later.
why I think, but I think this is a parody of these people.
So.
Look at those fucking lines. There's no way they believe that when they put it on.
That's how you sell a movie, though, Chuck.
That's how you sold. That's how you sold comedy dramas in the 80s.
They're not. This
all
is
of
not,
them have this weird
a
ass
marketing
cream
team.
color.
A marketing team did not come together and say we're going to be totally cynical about how we sell this movie.
Sure. But the marketing team are given direction.
Way.
The marketing team are given direction. How do you know the director didn't go to them and said, "Sell this like"?
I'm going to make it my mission to find out now, because this
it looks like a fucking joke.
Is a joke. No, it's not a joke. It is a joke in how like ridiculous it is.
Yep. That's why I think it's a joke.
I don't know. I
don't think it is.
I don't either.
Again, I'm going to say if it is meant to be a joke or meant to be an indictment, it's not making its case.
Nope.
Mary Kay Place should have quit long ago. If this
in
is
a cold world, you need your friends to keep you warm.
Yeah.
You seriously think that's a statement to draw people into a movie?
Absolutely, yes. Especially in 1983 to like disaffected white boomers. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. None of this screams parody to me.
Nope.
Not on the poster.
It really doesn't.
I mean, yeah.
Do they confront some existential crises? Yes. But is it all just like very on the surface and never really have consequences? Yes.
But look at this. The unhappiest people in the movie are smiling on the poster.
Well, yeah, because you don't sell
smiling.
them. You don't.
No, they're not all smiling. Kevin Kline is not smiling.
He's smirking.
What's her face?
Even Meg Tilly's got a little like smirk on her face. They're all smiling. Like Mary Jo Beth Williams has got like a flat, I guess. But Jesus Christ, man. I don't know.
They have William Hurt fucking smiling on the poster. He didn't smile once in the fucking movie.
You don't sell a poster. You don't sell a comedy drama with people with unhappy faces on the poster.
It's not a joke.
I know that.
It's a marketing ploy.
So who cares? Marketing is marketing, right? That doesn't tell you what the intent of the movie was. You just said it's a ploy.
But if the true intent of the movie was to make a statement, the director wouldn't sell it that way.
I don't know. We've seen multiple occurrences where that happens, where posters betray the movie or marketing betrays the movie.
Well, that does happen, yes. And that's, again, where I want to defer the fact that I want to hear from Kasdan himself.
Sure. Like, but you're making an assumption just like I am, right?
But if you look at the poster, the way it's marketed totally backs up the way I feel about this movie.
But it would too if you feel the other way. It totally backs up the way I feel.
And the marketing of the movie becomes the movie if the movie doesn't transcend it. And I don't think the movie does. And therefore, if the movie has a message that is in there that you picked up on, congratulations, like really legitimately, that's great. But if it did cultural damage instead of having its intended purpose, then it failed.
No, it would have made a few white people you don't like go do cocaine about it somewhere.
It failed, and it failed in a way that to make a movie that I don't care for. It's just
that's fair. I mean, for
me, it's just the way I feel.
Right. I wouldn't argue that. Like, I can't argue your feelings, obviously.
Well, for sure. I just don't think that there was like as much cunning behind it that you seem to think there was.
Jason, go look up the poster for Windy City, 1984.
What's Windy City?
Just look it up. It's a nostalgiasploitation movie.
Well, I'm sure they all came in waves after this.
Oh, yes, they did. Look at the color of the poster. Look at what's on the poster and read what's in the corner of the poster.
This is hard to find. Hold on.
Just go to IMDb.
Oh, good call. All right, I got it.
So yeah, I mean, okay.
Me and my friends, we had a dream once. Life was going to be a great adventure, and we were going to be heroes. The dream is alive in the windy
That doesn't
city.
prove anything, though.
But
It doesn't,
but it's the way people took the success of this movie,
Sure.
just dominoed down so many bunch of upper middle class white people in their 30s started making these movies that made them come across as like superheroes of the world. And
Successful or not, or if intention or not, if somebody copied satire without realizing it's satire, then I mean that doesn't prove a thing.
I don't.
It doesn't prove a thing. If it was the arbiter of this thing, it doesn't prove anything.
I'm arguing more at this point its place in the world.
Sure.
And what
Sure.
it influenced, what it affected. And its effectiveness in what it was. And if you are correct, Chuck, and I really honestly want to believe you are,
It wasn't
it
successful.
Failed fucking fantastically.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
because then fucking after moonlighting every fucking week, I had to see fucking 30 something start. And it's like, God damn these people with their fucking problems. Where's David and Maddie at?
I mean, people have always liked white man's problems, right?
Oh yeah, yes, everybody loves this.
You know what I'm saying.
We
Yeah, I
see
know,
you
I know.
rolling your eyes, Chuck. We see you rolling
I
your
know.
eyes.
Yes.
Our listeners don't. Yes.
I failed miserably at sending
Yes,
my
you did.
Sarcasm
Yes, you
through the
did.
mic.
Know your media.
I'm the
Know your
Lawrence
media.
Kasdan of jokes.
Yes, you might be. Oh, now I'm afraid, legitimately, a little bit. Like the creep of doubt has entered into my brain that I'm gonna hate Silverado.
Oh,
No,
I thought you were going to say
it's
that
a
you're
whole
wrong.
different movie. That's I mean, no,
I'm
he's also
joking,
terrified
I'm
that he's wrong too.
Yeah.
I am joking, but
I mean,
know you are.
after all of this like heated debate, like I expect at any moment now, Smokey Robinson's going to really kick in hard in this scene that we're
Oh my God. What's he going to sing?
in. Probably Tears of the Clown.
Okay. Let's talk about that though. The music is pretty great, right? Like
This is one of
can't argue with the music.
This is one of the best soundtracks of any movie ever made. And if this influenced, say, Guardians of the Galaxy, then it fucking succeeded.
Sure. Sure.
It sold like 6.5 million copies worldwide on initial release, I think.
That's
I'm
insane.
It's insane. Yeah, it is insane, but it's still not even in the top 10 of most popular soundtracks, which is
Tracks of My
crazy.
Tears, that's what I meant. God, I said the wrong. Tracks.
You said Tears of a Clown. You were talking about Jason after he realizes he was wrong about this movie.
Yes, that's why that's the song that's gonna kick.
That ain't happening. I do appreciate your take though, Chuck. I do.
I mean, yeah,
I really do. I really do. And I do see that there maybe are more elements of that in the movie, in the narrative, than I initially recognized. But overall, I still feel like the weight of the scales is the way I feel.
Yeah, I think the Reverend roasting the man as much as he did to begin it, like kind of teetered me one that way. And then everything kind of fell in line, right? So if you're not, it did need to do a better job of telling you how you were supposed to feel, right? Like to start, if that's what it wanted you to gain from the movie.
Well,
Go ahead, Jeff.
Let me pose this.
I don't want a movie to tell me how I should feel. The movie just the
movie clues you in on how you're supposed to feel.
The movie just kind of should do what it does and let the chips fall where they may, and I think it kind of does that.
Okay. Well, let me pose it like this here, right? So let me try to bridge this gap between the two opinions here. We're also looking at this 40 years later, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
know
For sure.
we know how successful this movie was. We know
Right.
we know it was, we know that it was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Screenplay.
Who got Best Supporting Actress?
Glenn Close.
Oh, interesting. It was because she cried in the
nominated, not
shower.
win.
That's why.
Right. Yes, because she was crying naked. That was her Oscar. That's what
Yeah.
they played on national TV. Was
That's
her.
absolutely what
yeah.
they played. Yeah.
But they put her in an aerobic outfit when they played it.
Right. They just superimposed her head like badly over Jennifer Tilly. Yeah. And it's like really choppy how it's following her around.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What won Best Picture this year?
this would have been
Sorry, I thought you had it up.
no, I didn't.
And I
Terms of
it doesn't
Endearment. Terms of Endearment one.
matter. That's one I don't think I've ever seen, so I won't comment.
She lost to Linda Hunt in The Year of Living Dangerously.
Oh, that's a controversial one too.
Like she played a man.
Yeah.
Which that's anyway.
Yeah.
So we understand today the soundtrack was awesome. Because there are things in this movie that are legitimately funny.
Oh, it's entertaining.
It's an entertaining movie, even if it doesn't land right. Like, go back to that Ebert blurb, right? He is saying nothing but good things, except for it just didn't land at the end, right? Like, it's like, what's the point if it doesn't land, is what he's saying. We know what this influenced later. We know what this did. What we don't know is if we sat in a room with people roughly our age, or in this case 10 years younger than us, because that's how old these characters are, and we all look younger than they do.
Yeah. It's so weird.
It's so weird. 70s were a hell of a decade.
They did a lot of cocaine about it.
Yeah.
But we don't know if we sat in our mid 30s in the theater at the time, if we would have been leaving that saying, let's fucking pillage this planet and fuck all, or if we would have been like, God, I kind of feel like this guy, or I kind of feel like that person. I'm unfulfilled,
Yeah.
So we don't know.
We don't.
What the feeling was at the time. And some people, because like obviously it got really good reviews as well. Like Ebert was the call out because it was the kind of negative review of the movie. But there's Richard Corliss has an entire paragraph of what he has to say. So it's like,
so
it obviously
I think
hit
you're right.
people, and maybe Chuck is right here. But we don't know because we can only see it from a different perspective than
I think even
and from our generation too.
Right. I think even the soundtrack, unless I have my doubts about this, but the soundtrack, 80% black artists?
Yeah.
Not a single black person in the movie, and it's just white people celebrating, like listening to black music. Like that feels
at a legitimate plantation in the South.
Yes,
yeah.
That to me,
that shit reeks. Yeah.
Yes, but it feels like to me like a joke on these people.
I don't think so.
I know.
If you made it now, it would be. If you made it now, it would be. I think it was obliviousness. Then
that is sad if it's obliviousness.
I think it's obliviousness.
I think it is. I think it is relative obliviousness in that era. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna try to time warp myself back to 1983 and say that it probably is oblivious. I shit myself. Never mind. It didn't work. It didn't work. I spectacularly failed. But no. I think it is obliviousness at the point of not thinking about it in 1983 the way that we think about it in 2023.
Yes.
I can totally buy that.
I believe that.
Which is funny because I just recently saw a movie where all of that is hyper parodied and satirical in a completely different way of like just using all of that kind of stereotype and all of that kind of guilt and stuff in a completely and totally different way that is hilarious. But it's not, I'm going to say, and maybe this is where my complicated feelings kind of come to a head, right? We don't know what was going on inside the brain of the average person who bought their $3 ticket to go see this movie on opening day, who was the right age, who sat there and said, maybe at the end, I missed my opportunities at some things, or I'm not as happy as I could be. Maybe this is a little bit of a wake-up call. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who just was like, fuck it, let's go out there and do whatever we want. But there might have been a few people who it really hit with because they identified with somebody in the movie.
I also think the ennui of this movie is just so rich coming from the people that you're hearing from, right? Considering
that's fair. I mean,
considering this is only like 15 years gone from the assassination of Martin Luther King, like it's just like, really, I don't know. But again, maybe it plays into Chuck's theory.
I mean, everything that you hate about it could potentially play into my theory.
It could,
right? Or
like,
hate.
We're supposed to just hate all these people,
but
not identify with them and hate ourselves. But maybe, but I don't think it's like written that cynically. I just don't.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Everything you love, on the flip side, everything you like about the movie or appreciate about the movie, in terms of what you think it's trying to do, could play into
100%. I mean, if it can play one way,
it fails.
Right.
Yeah.
If it can play one way, it can play the other. 100%.
There is absolutely a stark opposite here, and I am someplace in the middle, because there is, again, that Ebert quote about everything is right about this movie, except it doesn't stick any landings for me.
Yeah. I don't even believe that Chuck 100% believes his point of view, but he's arguing it compellingly. And that's interesting because it provides a counterpoint and it makes this conversation really interesting.
Right. I kind of go ahead. Sorry.
I appreciate it because I think that point of view, the three of our point of views really, in kind of contrast in mediation, has made this a really good conversation about this movie. Like, it really has. Like, and that's why I knew this would be a good conversation, even though I felt the way I felt about the movie, because it's beyond the narrative, right? It's beyond the storytelling. It's more about its value,
right?
And its effect and why people were so enamored by it. That's the conversation, right?
Yeah.
So it's a cultural moment in a movie. So in that way, it's successful because it did make a mark. So, and that's what this conversation's been about.
Sure. Absolutely. And that's why at the start, I said dissenting opinions often make for the best conversations.
Most definitely.
We have good conversations about movies we all love, for sure.
Right.
Like Boys in the Hood. Like, I will forever love that episode. I thought it was a good conversation, and we all liked that movie. I'll love that movie, probably, I think. I can't remember that far back.
Yeah.
But
oh no, yeah. I mean, I think we all love that movie. I mean, and we all had different ways that we came to that movie too.
Yes.
Right.
It was not a movie that you would expect three middle-aged white guys to have all experienced from three different perspectives in three different lives,
Right.
It's not, I mean, again, that was another one I was drawn to because Siskel and Ebert talked about it on their show. And I was like, I kind of want to see this, it's like, I want to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
And it felt good to kind of understand what was being said in that, even at the age that I was at that time. And I think that's one of the things we always have to remember that sometimes we're looking back on things that I think it's safe to say this movie is not made for any of us. Not the three of us. I mean, not for anybody. No, not for the three of us, right? Because
Right.
at the time, Chuck, you and I were 6. Jason was like, what, 4? Yeah, it's like we don't.
Jason was in the bathtub singing Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog.
Pretty much. I was hanging out with I was paying Tom Berenger $1 for his autograph.
I was in bed with Christina Ricci somewhere.
Nice. And it probably
I was
loaded on
that,
vodka.
exactly that age. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we can only speak from what we know that movie did in the 40 years since. We can also only speak from it from how we can approach that movie. Now, some of us are going to have movies that, I mean, obviously, Chuck, you have a little bit more connection to it than we do. But yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that happens. I do think it is important that we talk about the end here of this movie, because it is important to understand what we end up kind of finding out these characters do.
Yeah, so quick outline, just to we don't need to belabor all the stuff that happens.
Most of this movie is conversational, right?
Yes.
Like it's people talking about their ideals and stuff like that, which that's not going to be something we can detail necessarily, but what we can do is hit the major points. The major points being Karen, Jo Beth Williams, is very unhappy in her relationship with an older man who is very stuffy. She doesn't want to become like that. She loves her kids, but she also really wants to get in Tom Berenger's pants.
Yes.
Tom Berenger, I don't really know what he wants in the end.
He seems like he's you. He's in between the two. Like really, I don't feel like he's trying to capitalize on his fame. Like even the fact that they're making fun of him, as Jason pointed out, or you pointed out, when he says, I try to put something good into every episode.
Yeah.
There's a part of him that is still feeling his youth, right?
Yeah, he's having fun with life. He's getting to kind of make this kind of silly show, but he's having a good time doing it.
And he hasn't fully sold out, even though he's on JT Lancer. He feels like a genuine kind of person almost.
He seems the most genuine of them all, that seems to be the kind of just enjoying life.
I think he's in the middle. He's between Michael and the rest of them.
Right. Michael wants to quit working for People magazine, even though...
Not Michael. I meant William Hurt's character, whose name
Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
I probably said Mike a few times when I meant Nick.
No. I don't think you did. But
ruined
Michael,
this episode.
Yes.
It's Michael, who is Jeff Goldblum, wants to quit working for People and he wants to open a club. Which is funny because it's like it seemed he wrote an article about Alex turning down a prestigious award. It's kind of funny. I don't feel like Michael is a friend of any of these people. I think he just kind of was the hanger on.
Yeah.
Because he pisses off everybody because he's written about everybody.
He's the last resort for Karen. Not Karen.
No, you know what he is?
Meg.
Yeah,
Meg,
he
would have been.
Yeah.
You know what this is? He is Meg's boyfriend who wandered into this group of friends and then never left after they broke up.
Probably. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So Meg. Yeah. So like Meg has put her lawyering first. And she has, she's not taken time to settle down with somebody, get married and have a kid. And now she's saying her biological clock is ticking. She wants to have a kid. Harold is about to hit big because he's about to sell his company to a conglomerate and it's going to be a windfall. I don't know anything about Glenn Close's doctrine, but I do know that she has unresolved issues with having an affair with Alex that ruined their friendship. And it's like, yeah, no shit, that ruined your friendship. I don't have a great deal of sympathy for her in that.
Well, I have a little bit of sympathy for her. in that she's kind of like Sam Webber, Tom Berenger. I don't think she ever gave up on their original dream either. And Alex was always drawing her back to what she wanted to be.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah,
does that excuse her behavior? Absolutely not. But I do have a little sympathy for her position in all.
I have sympathy for her sadness over the loss of Alex, right? Like she seems, and she almost is constantly putting on like a stiff upper lip around everybody else, but then when she was alone, she broke down.
Yeah.
It's like I have sympathy for that, but I don't have a great deal of sympathy about her because I don't know much about her other than apparently she's just going to give her friend her husband, and Kevin Kline's going to be like, okay,
as
whatever.
amends for what she's done.
Right. It was a well, I did you dirty. Here's your
Yeah, that works.
Your prize.
No,
that
it
works.
I mean, it obviously doesn't work, and it's not something he he doesn't have a choice in it other than whether he'll do it or not. It's not like he's choosing the woman he'll have sex with to make up for this. But
yeah, cheating, crying Kevin Kline month.
That whole thing is gonna be disaster. By the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird nobility. Like another reason I think this is a joke is that this doesn't fucking happen unless you're rich and crazy and lucky and nothing bad can happen to you.
At this point, he kind of got rich and crazy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
he had a lot of success.
I'm not going to keep trying to drive that point home, but these are the little things that I'm like, there's no fucking way that they're serious.
But I do, but I will also say that 3 out of 4 people, 3 out of 4 guys watching this movie in their mid-30s, married and kind of in their ho-hum doldrums at that point, would have been like, fuck yeah, I wish my wife would hand me off to her friend.
I agree with that, but satire is like making fun of what 75% of the people like or would do.
Sure. So yeah, and then I guess that just leaves Nick. Now, Nick, I actually like what he gets at the end, which is an opportunity to kind of like, he's a lonely person. He's constantly shown being separated from the rest of the group, right?
He's separating himself, though.
He is, but there's a sort of a kindred spirit with the Meg Tilly character, right? Because she doesn't go to him expecting sex like Nick, or not Nick, Michael is going to her wanting sex, right? There's almost like a companionship that they find with each other.
It's a spiritual thing, not a sexual thing.
Exactly. Now, they may actually end up saying they love each other, but I don't think either one of them actually came into being drawn together wanting the other in bed.
Right, it's a spiritual thing, not a sexual thing.
Exactly. So it's a very nice ending for them. It's maybe unrealistic, but it's okay. The two outsiders in this situation have kind of found something to like about each other, and maybe this is what they need for now.
What did one of you said earlier, and this is just another point I'm going to make. That this ends like a sitcom almost, with everyone laughing around the table.
Yeah.
What is the key tenet of a sitcom? The characters within it never learn.
Well,
ever.
I mean, if it's
that's a key tenet of a sitcom, is that
if it's an episodic, yes,
the main characters never learn, and that is the message I got from this. The end of this movie was like, these people just don't learn. They're not learning from the experience and life and what's happened to them. And the only people that aren't around the table laughing when that happens
are Nick and Chloe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's important. I think it's important.
I think that's a really interesting analysis. I think I would love for somebody to put that out into the world in a written form. Like I challenge you, Charles, to write this, because I think it's a really good read. I really do. But maybe, who knows? Maybe it's like the read that Kasdan has been looking for all these years.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, I could finally dig myself up from under the people that hate me for this movie.
Maybe
Nobody hates him for this movie.
I know, it was
Jason.
just me. But maybe
And probably Susan.
Susan doesn't like it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting take. I'm not going to argue that. If it's true, it's awesome.
Chuck, I think you should
It just totally fell flat for movie-going audiences.
Sure, and I can't argue for that, right? Like, obviously, I can't make you.
Right.
Well, it's like I said. Also, we don't know. I mean, there might have been a good number of people who walked out of the theater and said, "Oh my God, this actually said this, and this," and maybe I'm not as good off as I thought I was, or maybe I'm not the person I think I am. But
most artists will tell you, maybe not most artists. I don't want to speak for most artists, but I know artists that will tell you when they put art into the world, they believe what the message is, right? They know what their message is. They want people to interpret it for themselves and draw their own conclusions from the art. I don't know if that was the intention here, but it's.
I don't think Jason. The Big Chill was one like big piece of art. I really don't. I don't think it was. I think it was a minor film that hit big in the zeitgeist,
which is wild. Yeah,
I really do believe that. And what Kasdan's intent was, I don't know. I would love to know. I would love to know and match that up with what you're saying, because I think what you're saying is fascinating. I really do. Like, no doubt. I really, really think your read on it is interesting. But it's not the movie that it became in the bigger picture of
right. It obviously
society.
Betrayed itself. Or not even that. Like, people were not reading that at all. And if what you're saying is true,
like if that was the intent, then it is even more interesting as a movie, right? Because whether or not it's a good movie or a bad movie or a successful movie or a failure, it's fucking interesting for sure. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, again, there's a lot here to like. And when this movie gets it right, it gets it really right. Like, it's an enjoyable movie 99% of the time. It's an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, and it's tonally good. Like, it brings you on a bit of a roller coaster. Like, if you discount the stuff that is annoying, which I totally get from your perspective about what it's saying, like, it's just a good time as a movie.
But I still don't understand how old are you when you saw this the first time?
I couldn't tell you, honestly. There's no way I watched it when I was 7. Like, my parents wouldn't have put me in front of this when I was 7. Yeah. So I would feel like I probably saw it late 80s, early 90s, probably. But I mean, I just know I saw it and I enjoyed it. And I remember laughing at the kid at the bathtub. Like, I remember that. And Kevin Kline.
That's adorable. That's the thing a kid would remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So really, there was none of that. And part of why I chose it is I bought it on Criterion, hadn't seen it in ages. Yeah. And I was like, I'm sure I didn't understand this movie when I watched it. A good excuse
to watch it. I mean, it's great. I think this is a really good episode. I think we've had a really good conversation.
I agree. It was fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Did we miss anything? Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, it's like, when we talk about like the nostalgiasploitation that came from this, I had already mentioned Windy City, which was a flop. But it was one that's like everything down to almost the same shade of tan on that fucking poster.
the sepia tone.
Yeah. That there was a TV series based on this movie very short lived.
Yeah.
St. Elmo's Fire was basically these characters just out of college, as opposed to many years later. 30-something Wonder Years would fall into that.
St. Elmo's Fire was contemporary, though, right? It wasn't.
Yes, it was contemporary. Okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, it was, and that was the Brat Pack. That was
right.
But yeah, it's like there's almost every adult drama of the past 35 years on TV has a direct connection to this fucking movie. It really has. I mean, This Is Us. Probably, it's like I was a big fan of The Big Chill, so I wanted to make this show, or whatever, and it's like, it's a real thing that when something hits, boy, oh boy, people try to flood in through the background, and god damn, I mean,
and yeah, they can
you're
spoil the
laughing about
message,
This
and they
Is
can
Us.
spoil the message. They can spoil the message. Like that happens a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if this movie had better intentions, great, right? And I'm sorry for the fact that in retrospect, it has been sullied.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. You were about to say something, Chuck, about This Is Us.
Oh, I was just going to say This Is Us, certainly, because that's centered around a character that died and makes people blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I didn't know about that show. I know about that show, but I didn't know it centered around a person who died. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, hell, even the Wonder Years, what's the pilot episode? Winnie Cooper's brother died. Fucking Coopers. That's the fucking name of Glenn Close and Kevin Kline.
Oh my God, they're Winnie Cooper's uncle and aunt. Awesome. But Jason, you just had a revelation over there.
No, I was getting something mixed up. I thought I had something between this movie and Anniversary Party, but I was mixing up characters. So never mind. Because there's Kevin Kline his last name is Gold in the Anniversary Party, but it's Jeff Goldblum who's Gold in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no connection.
Certainly agree with you that this movie obviously connected to many things we've seen since it, in its format and its use of music. Like some of the music in this movie goes on too long almost, and I like the song. I'm like, okay, you can stop the song now.
Yeah. The song that I'll never be mad that they play the entirety of is The Wait.
Yeah, that's a good song.
That's a fucking great song. And hey, rest in peace, Robbie Robertson.
Yeah, take a load off, Robbie.
Exactly. Okay. What else? We got anything else? I mean, if I'm going on my my B movie Anima the series nurses scale, I'm going to give this 3 poops out of 5. So that is just tipping over, to a positive review. Jason,
I'm guessing Jason doesn't give a shit.
I mean, I think Chuck has talked me up to a 2.5 stars, where I was probably at a 1. I think you've talked me up to it. I think the possibility and at least the idea that I can watch the movie with that read might
improve it, actually.
Kind of improves it. Yeah. It does. And the fact that there's enough there to glom onto to support it. Yeah. All right. I'm willing to give it like middle to middle lower rating. Yeah.
I mean, if we're doing it, we never do this, but I would give it like an 8, probably. I like it quite a bit.
Fair enough.
So it'll be like a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even taking out the stuff, I really enjoy watching this movie. Like just the characters and the actors and all that. So
okay.
That's that.
Yeah, that's that. So yeah, next week. Really, next week's just, I mean, it's going to be easy peasy because it's just a simple plan.
Yeah, it's just a simple plan
that we have to make happen.
Man, yep. I have a story about this one. The first time I saw this movie, I was terribly confused. And I'll tell y'all why next week.
Awesome.
All righty. So go to filmseizure.com. Find out all the places you can follow us. You can subscribe to get the episode on Wednesday morning, which is A Simple Plan. That is Sam Raimi, right? Yeah, Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, there's our Michigan grad that we actually do want.
Is
he Michigan or Michigan State?
I'm not sure.
Oh, he might be Michigan State. I may have fucked that up earlier, and people are like, "Oh, fuck those guys." Anyway,
you're always saying controversial shit, like you hate hippies, and Sam Raimi went to Michigan.
I know he's from Michigan. All right,
doesn't matter.
Anyway, it's one of those Big Ten schools up there. Anyway, so that is Wednesday morning. At filmseizure.com. Also at filmseizure.com, this upcoming Monday, I have a new episode of Monster Mondays. And it is a movie that surprisingly I had never seen. That was a Roger Corman movie, and it is fucking bonkers in all the right ways. And that is Attack of the Crab Monsters. That was a revelation, guys. I recommend it because it's got fucking like yeah, it's telepathic crabs, guys. It's amazing. Anyway, so that is Monday afternoon.
I wish it was a crab when you were trying to figure that out.
Anyway, that is Monday afternoon, filmseizure.com. This upcoming Friday at my website, bmovieanima.com, you can read my review of a fantastic Jamaican film called The Harder They Come.
That's a good one.
Talk about a soundtrack. Woo! I may actually put that on after we're done recording. It's fucking awesome. Jimmy Cliff is great. Anyway,
yeah.
So that is where you can find that. But anyway, I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. Let's take this out on a real big chill way. We all laugh and freeze frame and never learn our lesson. I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Chuck Moore.
I'm Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.